the planning board, and we'll have a roll call for quorum. I'm Eric Nealon, the chairman.
Mark Sprague.
Danielle Spicer.
James Barr, associate member.
Is that all of us for tonight, Erica?
No, Mike and Peter on.
Oh, okay.
Yep, Pete Driscoll here.
Mike is here.
Okay, I think we're good.
Alrighty. So pursuant, okay, so I'm about to open up the hearing. Right there, Erica. Pursuant to Governor Baker's, oh, too high. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 20.
I'm sorry. I realized I wasn't scrolled down.
Oh, that's not the thing I'm supposed to read anyway. Okay. What the Massachusetts General will hold a continuation of a virtual public hearing on Wednesday, April 8th, 2020 at 7 p.m. to hear and act upon the application of Built Best Construction LLC, 92 Middlesex Road, Unit 3, Tinsboro, Mass. 01879 for modification to a special permit dated April 8th, 2015. The special permit was issued for a common driveway located at 147 Long Hill Road in Bolton's residential zoning district in accordance with section 250-17 of the Code of the Town of Bolton. The driveway provides access to 147, 149, 151, 153, 155 Long Hill Road, also identified on Assessor's Map 4D as parcel 52 and Map 3D as parcels 46, 47, 48, and 49. The applicant seeks modification to the special permit for the approval of certain design deviations from the approved special permit and site plans endorsed June 10, 2015, identified after construction of the common driveway, and any further relief deemed necessary or appropriate by the Town of Bolton Planning Board. All right, so I talked with Erica.
Well, let me, I need to recuse myself.
Okay.
Put me in purgatory, please.
I will do.
Okay, so Erica, we talked about this earlier in the week. Just so we didn't have to get together and sign everything, we'll hold off on voting on the final determination. Is that correct?
Yeah, if that's the direction that the board would like to go. Before we talk about that, though, there were just a few more new items that were added to the public hearing as record documents. Kevin Erickson had submitted a letter regarding Built Best Construction. Kevin is on the phone. He could speak to that. And then today we received another letter from the salon's attorney.
Yeah, I saw both of those. So I don't know if they each want to speak to it. That's fine.
So
do you want to hear briefly from the applicant, or do you want to wait, Eric?
Go for it.
Okay. So as indicated at the last meeting, the board did request some additional documentation relating to the applicant's authority to proceed with the present modification. To that end, last week on April 1, I believe, we provided the board with that documentation along with an explanatory letter for the record. We don't believe there's any doubt that based on the information we submitted, the applicant has an interest in the property warranting this board's consideration. At this point, all the residents who have provided comment on this file have indicated that they do not object to the modification requests. And at the previous hearing, this board will also recall that we did establish there were no other items really open for discussion, and therefore we're hoping that we can close this public hearing and move the process to a vote.
So the Silence attorney, is he on?
Hi, my name is Attorney Christopher Alph, and I'm with Paul Haverty's office. I don't think that anything that Attorney Erickson said was inaccurate. We do appreciate him providing that additional information. It was important for us to make sure that we were getting the zoning relief that we needed by making sure that the applicant requesting the relief was the correct applicant. We think that probably there's enough evidence where we can draw a line between the applicant and the person requesting the modification. And we do not, although we may not be happy about the conditions of the road of what is happening, we do not object to this modification at this time.
Okay, so I mean, at the last meeting, we talked extensively about any open items or anything, and we were just waiting for that final documentation. So I don't know, is there anything else to add to this, Erica?
No, that was it. I just wanted to make sure that those documents were identified as being part of the public record. So that's it at this point. I don't anticipate receiving any new information. So I think that the board could go ahead and close out this hearing tonight.
Okay, anything else from the board?
No.
Anything else from,
I will go ahead and
Audience.
unmute everyone just in case someone wants to make a comment.
are there any comments from the neighbors or abutters? Take that as a no. So I guess we need a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Sounds unanimous. So now, like I was saying earlier, so we don't have to go through sign this thing and coming out of our bunkers. We can just hold off voting on the determination for like 60 days. Is it impeding anybody to hold off on voting for the final determination, Erica?
I don't believe so. I mean, by law, the board has, 90 days to render a decision. That does include time to then record that decision with the town clerk. So you're fully within your right to do that. And then in addition to that, the state did pass additional legislation at the end of last week, also providing some permit extensions because of COVID-19. So even beyond that, we have even more flexibility at this point. So I personally don't see any reason, if the board doesn't feel comfortable coming out to sign this document, there's no reason, we can put it off until a future agenda item.
Any discussion on that?
Yeah, can I just ask, is there any reason why we wouldn't vote on it now, though, and just sign it later? Or is it, as soon as we vote, we have to sign it?
Correct. So once you render a decision, you have 14 days to then record it with the town clerk. And I don't want to put the board in that position. There may be, again,
Okay.
some flexibility there with the new legislation, but I would prefer just not even to go there. There's no reason to.
Okay.
And there's no way to e-sign yet? We're not up to that.
No, from what I read, that they're allowing for electronic submissions, but I didn't see anything about electronic signing. So, at a minimum, Eric would have to sign on behalf of the board, and we
We could just hold off. It's fine. It doesn't sound like it's hampering anything,
We don't have any, I know the hearing's closed, but just for clarification, we don't have any terms coming due or any issues that would impact the membership of the board. That would be my only concern, Erica. This is Kevin Erickson, by the way.
I think,
So-
isn't it March is the only term that's coming due?
correct. Only Mark, and he's in a butter, so he's been recused anyway.
Okay,
And then we have 5 otherwise, so if we lost somebody at some point, resigned,
Yeah.
we'd still have 4.
Still have a super majority, correct?
I understand. Okay.
So I
We
think
don't
we're
have,
good.
and not that it matters, but we don't have any objection to that.
Okay, that's good. All right, so I think that's it then, right?
That's it, yeah, and then I would just say, to the applicant and to the residents, I will let you know when this gets put onto a future, planning board agenda. It'll likely be when the board starts meeting in person. Is that my guess, Eric? Or
Sure,
at least, once we're over the peak of this COVID-19?
yeah, right.
How you want to handle it, so,
It
but
sounds,
we'll let
Or
them
if they
know.
or if they start allowing electronic signatures.
Or that too, right.
I mean, yeah, so maybe, if something magically happens and we're back to normal in our first meeting in May, then fine, but if it's getting to the end of May, then maybe we have to have a second plan. I don't know.
Well, like I said, we have 90 days under Mass General Law, and then beyond that, we have a lot more flexibility with that current legislation relating to COVID-19. That the deadlines in that, I believe, was once the state of emergency's, been removed, we have 45 days to get back on sort of the schedule. So we have time.
Cool. All right. I think we're done.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next topic then. So the woods at Farm Road, the plan board to review and provide comment to the zoning board of appeals regarding the comprehensive permit application for the woods at Farm Road development. So this is to just basically what we've done for other 40B developments, is just to provide comments to the zoning board of appeals. So
Erica, do you want to bring Mark back in?
I
oh,
did. Yep,
Yeah,
Mark is
He's
back
here.
in.
welcome back, Mark.
Yeah, call me by surprise. I was doing other work when I chimed and
Yeah.
connected.
Usually you disappear for like 2 hours.
Lately, it's been like that, yeah.
Yeah. Do we have the developer here?
No, there's no reason for me. There's nothing in the
Okay.
law that requires me to notify him. Certainly he could look
Okay.
at the planning board agenda.
So we've already gone through this once before. And I know I think, did we request the 2 driveways, or did they always have the 2 driveways? I remember there being a thing about the driveways. We
They
moved,
always had 2 driveways, both police and fire. They didn't, obviously they have concern about, site distance, and the fact that the intersection is, skewed. So, they had requested during a site visit, if you could make that more of a T intersection, we would love that. So that was a request.
Mhm.
And then also moving those driveways as far from the intersection as they could, which I believe the applicant had done prior to this submission.
Mhm.
Wouldn't we have better, shouldn't the Farm Road entrance be in front of Unit 4 then? Wouldn't that give an extra 50 feet or so there?
Looks like maybe, is there a rock wall there? Is that why they didn't do it?
Well, there's a proposed boulder wall, but,
Oh,
I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's a good question. I don't know, and we can certainly pose that to Ducharme Mandelis, asking them, is it preferred? I don't know. Let's see if, that certainly, we could certainly ask Ducharme about that.
because it seems like that would help that intersection a little bit.
Yeah, it looks grading wise like it might be a bit tricky though.
Yeah, it's hard to,
there's a little bit of a steep there, yeah. Let's go 365 to 363.
it's a couple of feet among friends.
It's one of those things, we can ask the question and they can come back and say, design wise, it doesn't make sense, there has to be a retaining wall, whatever. I mean, they can come back and
Yeah.
respond to that, but we can at least ask the question.
Yeah.
It looks like that one isn't as much of an issue as the Berlin Road one anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I thought we had asked them about making it one driveway with the just all 4 units off of that one, but
Right, if you just came in on Farm Road maybe, but I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on in the middle there. Is that a well or
It's
septic?
it's a bioretention basin for stormwater.
Oh, so it's a depression. Okay. I mean, when this initially came in, I thought it looked like a pretty good project, didn't really have any major concerns with it. All right, I mean, the 4 single units is really no wetlands to contend with, seemed like a pretty, nothing too much besides maybe recommending DRB looks at it. I don't really have any other comments.
Yeah, so we had recommended DRB when we had submitted comments to Mass Housing. I mean, I have some concerns. When I look at the drainage, it doesn't look like they're really picking much of the runoff off of the driveway from Berlin Road. Most of that appears to be just draining to the wetland. So that's something I would like to bring, and I can put that as a planning board comment. The fact that they're not really capturing much of that runoff at all. The other driveway, it appears that they're picking up more of that. Some of it's going to that bio retention area. I think some of it may be going to that catch basin. Or maybe all of it. I'm not sure. I can't tell without the grading on the driveway.
Hmm.
I know the Conservation Commission had concerns with the density, having 4 different single-family homes on the lot. Under local wetland bylaws and regulations, what we call the AURA, which is the Adjacent Upland Resource Area, they actually considered that resource areas in Bolton. So obviously they would like to reduce the impact to that area as much as possible, even though I know under the state guidelines, you can build within the 100-foot, with the permitting of an NOI. So, I don't know if the board agrees with the Concom. The Concom had made a comment about maybe they could combine some of these units into sort of more of a multifamily dwelling.
So you're talking about unit 1 being too close to the 100-foot?
Well, it's entirely within it.
The whole project's
Oh.
within the 100-foot.
Oh, I see.
I
Well,
know, I take that back.
Unit one.
All of unit 1's within the 100-foot.
Yeah.
Right.
And a portion of unit 4 is within the buffer zone.
Correct.
So we can build within the 100 feet, right? Or no?
You can.
Through permitting.
One of the things, though, I guess I have a question on is typically your septic system is supposed to be 100. I thought it was 100 feet, or is it 50 feet, Mark, that your septic system has to be from a wetland? I can't remember if it's 100 or 50.
Under
I
the
guess that
local,
was
Local, it's 100, I think, but I don't remember Title V off the top of my head.
Okay.
they're meeting Title V, but they're asking for a waiver from the local. I believe
Okay.
we just had the opening of this hearing last night with the ZBA, and from what Ducharme was saying, they're about 72 feet. The leaching field's about 72 feet from the wetland resource area, so they are seeking a waiver for that. I do know, in looking at local Board of Health regulations, sometimes they do provide a variance if you're between 75 feet and 100. So they're close to the distance in which the board would, may consider a variance. And that's something that the peer reviewer is going to look at, obviously, the design of the septic system and the location of it. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's much alternative on here.
Well, it's almost like
Yeah.
if you could switch where the bioretention basin is and the septic and move lots 3 and 4 further, I don't know, is it east? You could almost put the septic system between them and have the septic system be entirely outside the 100 feet, because it's fine to have a bioretention basin within your 100 feet.
Right, but is moving unit 4 over going to be pushing that more further into the 100-foot?
It would, yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's a winner or
Yeah.
not, so.
Yeah. Yep. I see what you're saying.
It may be, or maybe not. I'm just curious if groundwater's playing into that as well. I know it's a mounded system anyway, so it's probably a moot point.
Yeah, it's almost like if unfortunately, if you could reduce it to 3 houses instead of 4, I think you could density wise make it work a little bit better, but I get why they're trying to push 4.
So just as an example, way back when we did our initial sit down with the applicant before they had made their submission to Mass Housing, they had presented this plan to me for a single family home. And so I had said, did I recommend some multifamily? So I had sent them some photos, what I thought were nice alternatives. They didn't like it, but I'm going to share it with you just so that you can see some alternative housing types that we could, recommend. Okay, do you see this picture?
Yep.
So this is an example, I believe this was in Cambridge, of a house where it's multiple units within one structure.
Yeah, looks great.
And then I can show you another example. This one I believe is in Devon's. So it's not so apparent. There's two different doors, but it's under, one structure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with these duplexes. I know that with duplexes these days, you can make them look really nice.
And you don't have to agree with me. I'm just
Yeah.
providing options for the
Well,
board in case you
yeah.
decide that, if you agree with the Concom, because the Concom obviously would like to reduce impact. And if we can combine some of these units to reduce the impervious area, then that would be great.
Yeah.
I could see the applicant pushing back because they're not going to make the same amount of profit.
Right, exactly.
On these types of units versus a single family. So I don't know if there's some flexibility there to add one unit. I don't know, to make up the difference, but somehow.
Like
reduce
make one a
impervious.
3, a 2 and a 3.
Yeah, let's go back to the exhibit. Oh, I must have closed out of it. All right, hold on 1 minute.
Can you guys hear my family in the background or no?
Yeah.
A little.
Let me mute. Last time I muted on my end, then I couldn't unmute. So I don't know. Let me see. No, it's working now, I guess.
Okay, here we go. So if we reduce it to 3, but made them multifamily, they could do 6. And then that would get them probably pretty much outside the buffer with the structures, potentially.
Yeah, that would increase the septic, which may not fit then as well either, but
Yeah,
Well, we could give it as a suggestion that,
yeah,
if
we
you
can suggest that they look at,
Yeah, look at multifamily units.
yeah,
Versus
yeah,
single family.
right. If you can get unit
Yeah.
1, because unit 1's fully in the 100. If you could get that out where turn unit 2 into a duplex potentially,
yeah, they don't all have to be multifamily. There could be one multifamily, there could be 2 multifamily. I mean, just look at alternatives, ways to get, more of the structures out of the buffer.
yeah. I mean, I think that the pushback you're going to get there is the affordable needs to be comparable to the other units. So if you've got a duplex and 2 singles, which is the affordable and is it comparable to the other units?
That's a really good point with a small project like this. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, if there were, 40 buildings or, 40 units or something, you could do a mix and get but that would be an argument to make, 2 duplexes, and not a mix. But, I think give them the feedback that we prefer, to reduce the impact there. I think, and let him do with it as they choose.
Sure. And like I said, the board doesn't have, that's just something I wanted to bring to your attention, but it doesn't have to be a comment you include.
No, I mean, having them as duplexes would also reduce some of the driveway area and such. So, and we've been doing a lot with trying to reduce impervious area. So I think that does fall into comments we've given other developers.
Mm-hmm.
It's at least worth just asking, and then they can give us their response.
Yeah.
Okay.
And does the board, you had initially talked about the 2 curb cuts. Did you want me to bring that up again with the applicant, whether or not they could reduce it to 1?
Yeah, I would say,
Go ahead.
not only to consider it, but I was just going to say, if they were able to go to multi-family units and only have, 3, they most likely could reduce the curb cut, so it's just 1 off of, get rid of the one on Berlin. I would still definitely ask, is there a way to reduce the curb cut so there's only 1?
Okay.
Anything else? Besides that, I mean, this is nothing like the one on Still River Road where we had so many issues with it. I don't think. I mean, in general, it seems like a good project if we could just, give those few suggestions.
Okay, so just to make sure that I have everything written down. So should I include a stormwater comment, just asking them if they can capture more of the driveway runoff? Is that something the board wants to include?
Sure.
Yeah, I would just say,
I think in general, yeah.
they should be trying to capture and collect as much proposed impervious area as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're doing anything off the roofs of the buildings.
So I didn't think so either, but in reading their memorandum they didn't really submit a drainage report. They put together this memorandum, and in there they say they're going to be doing basically perimeter drains around each house. And they said the capacity of the perimeter drains will be able to capture up to 50% of the roof runoff.
Okay, where are those perimeter drains discharging to?
I don't know if they're fully infiltrating or if they daylight somewhere. I can ask that question. I don't know. Perhaps it's on the site plans. I'm not sure. I can switch to the site plans here.
Oh, actually, if you go back one, oh no, oh yeah, there you go.
I'll zoom in. I don't think it shows. They just have it highlighted. Perhaps there's a detail for it. Let me keep going. Oops. Oh, drip line. Let's see. Is that it? Yeah, here it is right here. Danielle, do you see the, I'm sorry. Do you see the drip line detail?
I did, yeah.
Right here.
Oops.
So it looks like it probably just fills up and overtops.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so, and then potentially making some of them or all of them multifamily. And then also reducing the curb cuts to 1. And then Mark, did you have a comment about the septic, potentially seeing if they could move it, or did we decide that that's not really a possibility?
Well, I mean, so much of it depends on, I mean, if they went to 2 duplexes, kind of one where, if you moved unit 3 over adjacent to unit 4 and brought 1 and 2 over kind of where the rain garden is, then you might, and I don't know what testing they have, you might be able to move the septic over kind of, adjacent to farm, adjacent to the intersection. But again, without knowing what the testing looks like there, it's hard to know whether that's feasible or not. I think, I think the location of the septic is kind of driven by the 4 units. So, to the extent that they can, compress that footprint, it opens up space elsewhere that they might be able to move it to.
So let's say that's the ZBA, even the ZBA says, you know what, no, we don't like that option. We don't like the idea of adding additional units.
Mhm.
So it's going to stay as is for single family homes. In that regard, I mean, do you think we should be asking the question, you know, is there any way to pull that leaching field further away from the wetland?
I don't think there is, if you
I
look
don't
at
think,
the
yeah, I don't think
plan.
there is, because you've got a maximum, and there's a limit on the slope coming off, coming off the edge of the septic. Unless they build a retaining wall around it, kind of, build a dam around the whole thing. So I think, I think the contour there is kind of dictating the distance from the road. So, and pulling kind of swapping the rain garden and the leach field, would just push units 4 and maybe unit 3 into the 100 foot. So I'm not sure that's a win.
Yeah. Okay.
You captured moving the farm road driveway for, over in front of unit 4.
Okay. Yes, I forgot about that one. Yep.
I'm trying to think.
And then the DRB, right?
Yeah.
And they've already said that they anticipate going to the DRB, but I'll add it as a comment.
Is this Pace as well?
This is, he has a different partner on this one though. It's not the other gentleman from Still River.
So that's a builder? I mean, he's the builder, right?
I don't know the backgrounds of the other.
Oh.
They could be, yeah, I'm not sure they're, I do know that the applicant on this, the Woods at Farm Road LLC, the manager of it is actually the partner and not Bob Pace. Bob Pace is, has authority to make certain decisions, but he's not the actual manager.
Okay.
Are the proposed shrubs across the front of that going to be a traffic issue? Or are they far enough back from the road?
I think they're calling them out as abrevieties. We can go to the landscape plan. Yes. I don't know how tall they get or how thick they get.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about, about approving kind of blockage around the intersection there, blocking sight lines, but
We could just ask the question, verify that sufficient site distance will be provided given the landscape features.
when they're fully mature.
Yeah,
Is there any stop signs? What is it? A yield or,
I think it might be a yield.
a yield coming from the top, right?
No, I think coming off of Farm Road onto Berlin.
Okay.
I think the police had recommended that they change that to a stop sign. But I don't know if that's only related if it gets modified to a T intersection. I'm not sure if that's
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would think a T would require a stop, not a yield. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So does the police, do they request that through the ZBA? I mean, that's not something we have
if
to add.
they've made a recommendation. I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty hefty lift, so I don't know if that's something that the board will condition or require if the applicant isn't on board with it, just because it could render the project uneconomic and end up in an appeal. So I don't know.
By putting in a stop sign?
Oh, I thought you were saying cleaning it up and making it a T intersection.
Oh, yeah, no. Okay, is there anything else?
That I'm aware of.
I see there's a couple other people online. I don't know if those are neighbors, if they have anything to say. Did you just unmute everybody, Erica? Okay.
So,
Okay, I think we have our comments.
so I will draft that letter and then I will just, I'll send you a copy of it before I send it to the ZBA. Their hearing got continued to May 19th, so we have some time. I'll get it to you guys, and just like usual, if you have any, edits, just send it to me.
Okay,
Okay.
All right.
okay, so next, what do we, just got minutes and that's it, or?
Just minutes, yep.
I looked at the ones you sent, I had no issues.
Yeah, I'm okay with the ones you sent.
Yeah.
As well.
So I guess we need a motion.
I'll make it, oh, what's the date?
It was March 25th. That was our last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 25th, 2020.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. That it?
That's it. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.